What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And let's get into some Sixers drama, because when isn't there drama with this godforsaken franchise, with this dumpster fire of a franchise? Because it just feels like it's getting worse and worse by the day. It really does. Not only are you off to a 2-11 start, not only does Joel Embiid look like a complete shell of himself since basically coming back, and we'll get into that eventually at this point, you continue to the 2-11 start, you continue to look horrendous, and really the only thing worthwhile of watching this basketball team play is because of Jared McCain, and that's no knock on him because this kid looks like he can ball, and it looks like something very promising for the future of this franchise with him and Tyrese Maxey. But this team was molded to win something with Joel Embiid. There was always talks about, the timeline between Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, and how, Tyrese Maxey, who is a very good player right now, he's not ready to win yet. Joel Embiid is in a state of his career where he is, supposed to win and go on deep playoff runs. And of course, those timelines connect with each other and they don't match. And now you add Jared McCain to that mix. You got two guys that are going to be very good in this league that are not ready to win. And right now it's not meshing with Joel Embiid, but that's not really the biggest takeaway from this, because that's really not the thing that matters right now. Really just going into the whole state of how Jared McCain can ball, and he is really fun to watch. It all really starts after last night's terrible loss against the Miami Heat, when you're up by 20 points and then you get blown out. How the fuck is that even possible? I don't even want to know how that's possible, but somehow this Sixers team this year defies the impossibilities, because this team is straight up garbage. They can't score. They can't close out games. They can't score to start the second half. Like I said, Joel Embiid looks like a shell of himself. Paul George can't hit anything wide open from beyond the arc. Also, you don't have Tyrese Maxey. That definitely impacts some things. And like I said, really the only person that is standing out is Jared McCain. That's literally it. You have Kyle Lowry, who has been in this league for 50,000 years, has nothing left in the tank. You have all these other guys that have been brought in and trying to play to the roles, and nothing is just meshing out. Nick Nurse looks completely broken and completely defeated. It's insane how bad it's getting. And then you go to after last night's game, after when you were up by 20 points, after you get blown out, basically after that, you call a team meeting. And then you hear from post-game, everything like that, okay? Joel Embiid acts like, oh, we had a team meeting, blah, 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 blah. Starts to praise Jimmy Butler. Get the fuck out of here when you're praising Jimmy Butler, because that's fucking getting old. I understand. You love Jimmy Butler, all that stuff. It's kind of old. But then we get to today. Then we get to this afternoon, when you get the report from Shams on what transpired last night in the team meeting. And what transpired last night was Tyrese Maxey challenging Joel Embiid and basically calling him out, because Joel Embiid has been late to everything this year. He's late to team meetings, he's late to practices, he's late to everything on how it impacts the team, on how it impacts the locker room. Joel Embiid. This is becoming an issue. This is really becoming an issue. And it really just all started with the meniscus surgery last year. Gets the meniscus surgery, the team struggles down the stretch, they get into the playoffs, they're playing in they play in the play-in tournament. They play a second round matchup in the first round against the New York Knicks. Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey doing literally everything possible to overcome everything against the New York Knicks. Nothing happens there. Joel Embiid goes to the Olympics. Everyone disagreed with that, but he went. He wins a gold medal. And now we get to now where he starts the season not on time. They were going to do some type of plan with him. He makes his debut against the New York Knicks. He looks terrible. And yes, obviously, when you're playing your first game, you're not going to look right. You're going to look rusty. But the man looked like in his first game that he wasn't wrapped up at all. He wasn't ramped up. It just, on a state of a whim, okay, I'm just going to play this game. Okay, we're just going to go through the motions during the game. And this man is not improving ever since. He looks bad. And I don't know if this is something to still do with his knee. I don't know if there's a new injury involved with Joel Embiid, or or you can go to the state in the fact that maybe Joel Embiid is healthy, and this is Joel Embiid healthy. Because, and you can say that he's on the downward spiral of his career because that knee is never going to be the same. Even though he keeps bringing up on how he has to get out of the mindset of not trusting his knee, it's hard to get out of that mindset. Dude, you had the meniscus surgery last year. You came back into the playoffs. You dropped a 50-point game in one of the playoff games. You go to the Olympics, and now you're here, and you're still not trusting your knee? So I don't even know how to absorb that. But when you're just watching every single game, this guy doesn't look engaged. This guy doesn't look like he cares. Just looks like a complete shell of himself. And that all reflects back to this team meeting because it looks like Joel Embiid is completely humming it. This guy, it feels like this guy just doesn't give a damn. It really feels like this guy just doesn't give a damn. And kudos to Tyrese Maxey, one of the younger guys in the locker room, to stand up and call out the face of the team, Joel Embiid, for basically being a lazy ass and half-assing everything. Because let's go over this Sham article right now because there's a lot to get into and a lot of things that really bother me. And we also do have audio from Shams from the Pat McAfee show. So we'll get to that in a little bit as well. But I want to go over this article and read this entire article here. It's not that long. It's on ESPN. Anybody can, bring this up here. So, amid a 2-11 start that has had them in last place in the Eastern Conference and with their star trio of Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey yet to play a game together, the Philadelphia 76ers held a team meeting following Monday night's 106-89 loss to the Miami Heat. The loss was the team's fourth in a row, sparking veteran guard Kyle Lowry to call for a team meeting, a much needed heart-to-heart call to action and urgency, sources told ESPN. Players and coaches held each other accountable and took fault in the start of the season. Maxey challenged Joel Embiid to be on time to team activities, calling out the 22-23 league MVP for being late for everything and how it impacts the locker room for other players to the coaching staff. Sources briefed on the meeting told ESPN. Maxey and Embiid have a close friendship and a history of holding each other accountable, according to those around the team. Tyrese loves the big fella, but this is an elephant in the room, a person involved in the meeting told ESPN. So apparently, it sounds like this has been a thing going on for a little bit, possibly, because it doesn't feel like this is just a this year thing. It really doesn't. Now, I don't know realistically when this started. None of us do. None of us did. No one knows when this started. It's just impossible to know. But it really feels like this is more of an ongoing situation and more of a thing that's been happening for a little bit of time now for this to just come out of nowhere. Because is it just simply Joel Embiid got a high horse during the Olympics? Did he really even learn anything at the Olympics? I have no idea. When you're going out there playing with guys like Steph, hanging around guys like LeBron, you think you would learn a thing or two about how to prep yourself going game by game, how to prep yourself during the regular season, how to go by game, day by day when you get to the playoffs, and how to overcome those obstacles on going through the entire journey of an 82-game season, on going through the journey of an NBA playoff tournament to try to get to the ultimate goal, and that is to win a Larry O'Brien trophy. And did you really take anything from that? Because our players like LeBron James, our players like Steph Curry, guys like Jason Tatum, all these other guys, are they going around half-assing it every single day like it sounds like Joel Embiid is doing? Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely fucking not. I don't know where this comes from Joel Embiid. And yes, the Joel Embiid haters will go around saying, see, this is what I told you. This is what I warned you about Joel Embiid. And yes, I have been a Joel Embiid enjoyer. I have been a Joel Embiid defender. You can't defend this. And this is not to the fact of something that was being stated at the beginning of Joel Embiid's career. Like, this is going on a deeper level on just insane on how drastic this has changed. I don't know if it's the contract extension and Joel Embiid's like, yep, I'm getting paid. I really don't have to give a damn. Oh, I went to the Olympics. I got a gold medal. I sat next to LeBron, Steph Curry, all that stuff. I got my reward. I got my recognition. I don't got to do anything. I don't care. I bet to the ultimate goal. I got a gold medal. I supported my country, played for my country, competed for my country, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a damn. Like, where did all of this start? Where did all of this come from? And it's clearly reflecting on the way the team plays. It's clearly because this team does not look locked in every single game. This team looks like they're not playing for one another. They just don't look connected at all. And I don't know if that's solely just a Joel Embiid thing. I don't know if that's solely just, a Nick Nurse problem and how much trouble he has been put through for this, because Jesus Christ, I don't think Nick Nurse signed up for this. And that's not deflecting blame away from Nick Nurse, because there's definitely blame to go his way, because even without Joel Embiid, you got to find a way to get some of these guys to produce on the floor and find a way to get some wins, because your team is capable of winning without Joel Embiid. Your team shouldn't look this bad. They just shouldn't look this bad. It's clearly obvious they shouldn't be this bad, but maybe they are this bad. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they are just this bad. And Nick Nurse is probably just fucking broken, because he even has no idea what the hell is going on. He even has no idea how to handle with Joel Embiid. Because when you get to the Miami Heat game, it goes into the afternoon that Joel Embiid is most likely not going to play with an illness. And then it goes up into the Shams video that we're going to get into, the audio from the Pat McAfee show about him just randomly showing up yesterday and getting on the warm-up for the court, where is that Joel Embiid just purposely showing up because he knows how much fan backlash he is getting? Because at this point, it is getting so bad that you're getting the entirety of Philadelphia to agree with each other. The entirety of the Philadelphia fan base, the Sixers fan base. You know how hard that is to do? You really know how hard that is to do, to get everybody in the Sixers fan base to agree with each other. Because there's heavy Joel Embiid haters, there's heavy Joel Embiid defenders, there's some people that are in the middle. There's a lot of different stances here. But when you're getting, I would say, at least 95 people agreeing with each other about this entire situation, it's getting bad. It's getting very bad. And this team eventually is going to have to do some things. And there's also some other things that are standing out from this Sham article as well, about talking about how Joel Embiid is, confused about what they're trying to execute, game plan wise, coaching wise. And that just, what? How are you confused? No wonder why you're confused. Joel. You want to know why you're confused? It's because you're late to everything. You're late to team meetings. You're late to practices. You're late to every single thing. No wonder why Tyrese Maxey called that out. No wonder why you're fucking confused, because you have no idea what's going on, because you're not there to process everything. You're not there to go over the details. You're not there in the video room. You're not there in all these little detailed pieces to where you can understand what the team is trying to do day by day. How do you not see this? How do you not see the problem? I just want to know that. And maybe if you were on time and you basically cared about the team, cared about the passion, because it really doesn't feel like Joel Embiid cares at all anymore at this point, because it really just doesn't. Because especially when you go after, in the post game last night, when he's basically talking about oh, we had a meeting. And it basically kind of feels like when he's praising Jimmy Butler, he's really, and I mean really, disrespecting Tyrese Maxey and everything that he stated up there, because you're praising Jimmy Butler and how great of a player he is in his league and how great of a teammate that he was, knowing that Jimmy Butler probably would go off the high horse or the high end 20 billion times worse than probably what Tyrese Maxey did in that team meeting. Most likely. And you're praising Jimmy Butler to that extent, and you're basically just ho-humming whatever happened at the team meeting in the press conference. Feels like you're really disrespecting Tyrese Maxey there. It really does. Tyrese Maxey is all sunshine, smile. He's Mr. Smiles. He's Mr. Happy. He's in a good mood regardless. And if you get Tyrese Maxey to completely flip the attitude and completely flip the switch on his personality in a team meeting, you know you're doing something wrong. Because I've never heard anything about this like Tyrese Maxey here in this team meeting and calling out people. That's a guy that fucking cares. That's a guy that's trying to get this shit out of... And this guy's not even playing because he's injured. Dealing with a hamstring injury. And he's still calling out people because this dude cares that much. What does that say about Joel? It doesn't say much. Honestly, it could say a lot about how much he does not care. Because when you're not showing up on time, when you're not putting in the effort like some of your other teammates are doing, it's going to reflect on the entire team. And specifically, when this entire franchise is doing everything physically possible to make sure that you can succeed, to make sure that you can go far in the playoffs, to make sure that you can accomplish the ultimate goal that you always talk about every single fucking season, about how much you want to win a championship, how much you want to go far in the playoffs, how much you want to win. Do we just take that as face value now and saying that you're even half-assing that you're losing that purpose, that you're losing that mentality, that you're losing that care to go out there every single day, give it your heart out, and just win? Do you even care about winning anymore? Because at this point, you just feel like you're carrying out your public image. Especially with what happened last night. You're downgraded to doubtful with the illness, and then you just randomly fucking show up to warm-ups where it feels like you caught everybody by surprise? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And I do want to get to this audio by Shams and Pat McAfee, because it definitely does bring more light to what I'm talking about here. So I definitely want to bring this up here. So let's get into that. It's about, 3 minutes or something like that. So we'll most likely listen to the entire thing. But I do want to get this thing here from Shams.
What happened last night? You gave an example. You said like something happens last night, then I dig up a bunch of stuff. What is that particular news that you're chatting about, and is it reportable?
Yeah, I literally just put it out as soon as Joe Douglas was getting fired. So it happened in simultaneous moment. But last night, the 76ers had a team meeting. This is a team that's 2-11. They're in a free fall right now. Obviously, when you get Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Paul George together, a 2-11 start, this isn't what you're expecting. And last night, they had an hour-and-a-half long team meeting in that post-game locker room in Miami. And I think a lot was said, a lot was accepted, a lot was aired out. Coaches saying we need players to practice harder, show more attention to detail. Players saying we need to be coached harder. We want to be coached harder. But most notable of all that, Pat, I was told Tyrese Maxey, the 24-year-old young star, he challenged Joel Embiid, the face of the franchise, the former league MVP, that we need you to be on time for team activities. And saying that there's a trickle-down effect. When you are missing, when you are tardy, when you are late for what I was told everything was the line, it has an effect on the rest of the locker room, the rest of the players, the coaching staff. And yesterday, Joel Embiid was listed doubtful most of the day. Teammates, coaches, no one really heard from him. And then he shows up at warm-ups, plays in the game. They had a double-digit lead, great lead in the first half, completely 180 flip in the second half. And from what I'm told, it was kind of like this. Big fella is someone that Tyrese Maxey loves, but this was the elephant in the room, and Tyrese Maxey addressed it. They're very close. They're very close friends. They hold each other accountable. But last night, Tyrese Maxey delivered a message to Joel Embiid that I think a lot of people saw coming for a really long time in Philadelphia. And now they go from here on what are the action steps. What will Joel Embiid look like when the team plays in Memphis on Wednesday? What will he hone in on the message that was given to him and really put that into action over the next week or so? We're about to find out. But the fact that Tyrese Maxey, their young leader, is the one that stepped up with this, he's not going to just speak out for nothing.
I love that from Tyrese Maxey. And obviously, if the rest of the team felt that same way in the meeting, they would have said either yes or no to his messaging to Joel Embiid. Paul George obviously just got there, probably didn't feel as if he's the right guy yet in that locker room to talk about anything happening, especially with how bad the start of the year has been with him being on a team. So Tyrese Maxey just got paid, though, didn't he, right?
Yeah, he got a max.
He just got paid. So he is a guy that is expected to show up for that team. So him looking at Olympic gold medalist Joel and saying, like, hey, we need you not to be late. And Joel asked back for what? And then the team goes, everything.
All that.
That's maybe a nice, like, wake-up moment.
That's huge.
That's maybe a nice wake-up moment. And that's good leadership out of Tyrese Maxey. But also, conflict. Big Mike McCarthy used to say to the Green Bay Packers team, conflict's a good thing, because when people are wondering what people are thinking, now they know what people are thinking, and you can potentially move on. What happened?
And one thing that really stood out where Sham said that about this was brewing for a long time. How long? Is it just a this season thing? Is it just a this season thing? Or is this something that has been bottling up in Tyrese Maxey for a little bit here? How long has Joel Embiid been late to things? How long is Joel Embiid basically just half-assing everything? We have no idea. But the way that Shams made it sound, it doesn't sound like this is a this season problem. It's a longer extent problem. Maybe I could be hearing it wrong, but that's how I interpret it. That's how I am processing everything here. Because this can't be just a this season issue. This feels like this is something that has been brewing up for a long time, and it's getting old, especially with your team being as bad as it is. Because it just can't be this bad. But they are this bad. They're just bad. And the only thing worthy of watching this team and maybe diminishing a little bit of the frustration, even though it's by a very minuscule fraction, is Jared McCain being very good and looking very promising for the future. But what is the future of this team? We have no fucking clue. And this is getting to the point now where this entire Joel Embiid nonsense, all the constant drama, all the constant controversy here with Joel Embiid, the Sixers, the fines, with how the league treats the Sixers, well, not treats the Sixers, how they feel about the Sixers, because it's obvious the league does not respect the way the Sixers work their ways, how they run their business and everything like that. It's very clear that the league does not respect Joel Embiid and everything there too. It's very clear, and that's not even me trying to defend everything here. No, it's very rational, very, very understandable why the league views this team that way. Because they deserve to be viewed that way. Because what else would they be viewed as? Because literally every single time now, it feels like they get our hopes up, they heartbreak us in the playoffs. Now this year, it's just completely throwing that out the window. This is the worst possible start imaginable that this team can go through. And everything is revolving around Joel Embiid and whatever the fuck is going on with him. But right now, what I'm just gauging out of this entirety here is that this man has lost all the passion, this man has lost all the will, and probably just doesn't care. Just does not care. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the Joel Embiid experience. I'm tired of everything here. Because it's just too much drama. It's too much everything. It needs to change. And the Sixers, I don't know if they're going to do this. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. But they need to make some big franchise-altering decision here. And that is moving Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid should not be a Sixer anymore. At this point, it clearly looks like he doesn't care anymore. Why should he be here? And to the people that say, like, oh, you got to wait to trade him because his value is at his all-time low right now, you can trade him. You can trade Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons at his lowest, can't shoot a basketball, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff that happened in the playoffs against the Hawks still went for a big bag. James Harden, blah, 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 all the drama surrounding him. James Harden got traded multiple times. You can trade Joel Embiid. You can get an obnoxious amount of value for Joel Embiid because teams will pay for that talent. Teams will take a risk for that talent. You could trade him. You can. And you build this team around Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. That's all I see right now because even though you just fucking brought Paul George in here, so I have no idea what this fucking team is going to do. But they need to make a fucking decision at this point because you're not going to win with Joel Embiid. You're not going to win with all the constant change and all the constant, just face changing around this organization, all the coach changing, all the personnel changing. You're just not going to win that way. You're just not going to. How long did it take Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to win an NBA championship? How long did they have to grind every single year of just finding a way to finally get over that hurdle? You know how more difficult that is when you're a team that is constantly changing face every single year? 1 year, it's Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, JJ Redick, all this stuff, Tobias, all that stuff. Then it's Joel Embiid, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, so-and-so. Now it's Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, so-and-so. And those guys haven't even touched the court all at the same time yet. How do you expect to win that way? And clearly, it's just not going to work. You're not going to work. You're not going to win with Joel Embiid as the face of your franchise. You're not going to win with the constant face of this franchise just changing every single year. You're not going to win with this coaching staff. You're not going to win with Daryl Morey as your freaking president. Start over. Start over. Run with Tyrese Maxey. Build with Jared McCain. Build around those two guys. And figure out a fucking way to do it. Because it's just getting old at this point. It is. It really is. On how far this fucking franchise has just been falling year after year. And the entire city is just done with it. They're done. On how they completely disrespect us. It feels like they don't even care about the fans. It really doesn't. People that go to the Wells Fargo Center every single day, every single game, pay their hard-earned money to watch that slop every single game. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. They don't even look like a team out there. They can barely do anything. They're barely functional. If it's without Jared McCain. And he is the only one that looks functional. It's another joke. It really is. It's so bad. It really just is. And before we end it off today, we do have one voicemail here from Trey. Here on the hotline, not sure if he's frustrated with Joel Embiid. I'm sure he's just frustrated with the Sixers as a whole because why wouldn't anyone be? Because this team is an absolute dumpster fire. So let's get the Trey's call, and then we'll end it off from here.
Hey, I really don't even know where to start as far as this whole thing with Embiid. Like, I understand it may be frustrating what he's going through as far as the knee and all of that stuff and the media getting at him. But come on, man. You have so much talent around you to clock out mentally now. You got Tyrese Maxey, you got Paul George, you got a well-rounded supporting cast. And Maxey's right. It starts with you. So you gotta go in and you have to be you. Because everybody's going to follow suit with your body language. If you're throwing your arms up and crying to the refs, not getting back on defense, not giving effort, of course we're going to be 2-11. This team absolutely stinks without Embiid. So he has to snap out of it and play basketball. With him and everybody else, I believe we can win.
I wish I had that same type of mindset. I just don't. Yeah, this team sucks without Joel Embiid. They suck with Joel Embiid. That's just the way it is this year. And if Joel, maybe, I don't know how to go about this just because you have to be you. Maybe this is what Joel Embiid is now. Maybe he's just that far gone. Maybe it is. And I don't know what to do to fix it. I am so far into the side of reset. I just don't think it's possible with this group. I just don't. The timeline with Embiid, George, Maxey, McCain don't line up. I just reset. You build around Maxey and McCain. I just don't think it's worth it at this point. I just don't think you're going to win with Embiid. I hate saying that, I do. As a guy that is a big fan of Joel Embiid, it's a huge waste of talent. But it's where I stand. It's where it is. I hate it. It's where I stand now. But appreciate everybody for tuning in for this longer episode here. Had to get the frustrations out like everyone did with this Sixers group. So want to hear your thoughts about it. Don't forget to leave your voices and opinions down in the comments section below. I'd like to see those as always. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It does me a great deal of service. And also use the code TTPSPORTS. $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Great deal. Don't pass it up. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. I'll see you next time.